and I'm probably singing the same tune as many of the others you've interviewed, is resources.
There's a recession coming up.
Trying to find people to hire.
Supply chain challenges.
Labor.
Potential recessions.
Retention and recruitment.
Inflation.
Resources.
Inflation.
Stuffing. Inflation.
Budget.
Inflation has really been a big challenge in the industry.
Hello, and welcome to The Build Up, a podcast by Procon Consulting. I am your host, Q Jung. We're here at the SAME, Society of American Military Engineering Small Business Conference in Nashville, Tennessee. It's been quite the conference this year with over 4,000 attendees. I've really had the opportunity to connect with clients, partners, and new firms. I've also had the opportunity to have a conversation with Albert Romano, the Chief Strategy Officer for ATCS, while we were here. We talked about how the conference has been going, as well as some of the challenges that our industry is facing. So let's get right to the conversation. So Albert, I really appreciate you joining the show. We're here at the SAME in Nashville. Look at this, isn't this amazing?
Absolutely.
So I wonder, for the benefit of the audience here, if you could just introduce yourself and who you are and your background a little bit.
Thank you. And Q, thank you for having me on your show. It's really great to be here. My name is Albert Romano. I am one of the partners at ATCS. We're a civil engineering firm based out of Northern Virginia, in the Mid-Atlantic and the Southeast. One of my functions there is to help our company focus on its growth. So I'm the Chief Growth Officer for the company. My background, ironically, is civil engineering. That's how I started out. I went to University of Maryland, a TERP, and got my civil engineering degree and got into early on in the civil water resources arena. And just over time, my career evolved to what it is today.
So we're here at the National SAME Conference. It's well attended this year. I think over 4,000, give or take. What has your experience been like so far?
Well, it's been fantastic. This is a record year for SAME, and I've been a member of SAME since 2001. And then what actually got me started was at that time, my manager was my mentor. Took me to our first event, and I loved the networking and the opportunity to learn, and decided over time to get more engaged and involved. And here we are, 4,000 plus people that SAME has. It's great. The Small Business Conference is one of the great events. Of course, it's focused on small business. And there's also the JETSI events that come in following that. So SAME is a great organization when it comes to collaboration, being leaders, thought leaders, engaging government and industry together, networking, all those things that we want to do in our industry.
In 2001, when you had just joined, what was your mindset? What were your thinking, your hopes, or things that you can get out of the SAME?
And I realized that by being involved in professional organizations, there's an opportunity to learn, to share information, but also to create a network of professionals you can work with. So what attracted me to SAME is that it had broad depth and breadth of skills and capabilities, even though it's an engineering organization, but there are a lot of non-engineers also that are involved. There's all sciences and non-engineering, non-technical, non-STEM also are part of it. So it wasn't just engineering, it was really a broad spectrum of capabilities and services and people in our industry that touch everything that we do. So that was an attractive thing for me. And of course, so the DoD side of it, the national defense, national security, SAME brings all that together, and that's what brought me to it.
From your personal level or professional level, how would you say SAME has impacted you?
For me, it's been the development that I've had over the years, learning a lot more about our industry, our industrial base, if you will, about our profession, about the military, and being in a position now where I've been serving as the Resiliency COI chair the last couple of years, and that gave me a chance to become part of the board and be part of the executive leadership team that runs the organization. And all of us are volunteers, so it really is a volunteer organization that does a lot of great things. So that's been very helpful to me to learn and to give back.
Speaking of serving, I know that you are the chair of the Resiliency Community Ventures. I don't know if I said that properly.
You did. Well done.
And I wonder, how did you get involved? What was sort of your mindset there?
It kind of evolved a little bit over time. The Resiliency COI, many years ago, after 9/11, there was an organization that got stood up called the Infrastructure Security Partnership, TISP. And at that time, TISP was focused on trying to bring industry and government together to address the concerns that occurred after 9/11 when it came to national security and so forth. But we did at that time focus on things that had to do with resilience, and even had at that time developed the Resilience Guide, working with a committee and a group of folks within TISP, that professionals and experts. I certainly was not one of them, but I was part of the team. So we ended up developing a Resilience Guide at that time. So we're actually predecessors to where we are today. Of course, fast forward, TISP became integrated and was part of ASCE at one point, became part of SAME, and then evolved to what it is today in terms of being an RCOI. So that's kind of how that journey came along. And
I wonder if you can share what you think are some of the greatest challenges that the military and what we're facing in the construction industry.
It's very difficult to really pinpoint any one thing because there's so many dimensions to resilience. In the Resilience COI, one thing that we try to do is try to break down this big umbrella called resilience into things that we can manage a little bit more. So there's resilience focused on cybersecurity. Of course, that's something that we as a nation have to deal with across the board. And the DoD, of course, is a critical part of the mission assignment. The other part is the community and regional resilience and how we're dealing with climate change, dealing with natural disasters and man-made disasters, things that impact the mission exactly, and sea level rise. Then there's the physical infrastructure, the aging infrastructure, whether it's installation-based or outside defense. So all those areas cover and touch on being a resilient nation and having to deal with national security in that way. And there's a lot of work being done by all the agencies, by a lot of the professional organizations, a lot of academia that touches on resilience practices. From a construction perspective, what are some things that we're doing to improve the way that we design and build infrastructure, new infrastructure, but also how do we retrofit existing infrastructure so it can withstand some of these potential threats and hazards and risks. The biggest challenge is always, how do you pay for it? How do you pay for something that's long-term? How do you know that you're getting the value for it? Taking the science, in the case of climate change, the science may be further advanced in some cases. How do you take that science and apply it to the engineering side? And how do you then connect those dots? So there's a lot of work still to be done. A lot of work has been done. There's a lot more work that can be done.
Now, I know there's a lot of complicated challenges. I wonder maybe if you could just tackle one that you think and some practical solutions or thoughts that you might have about solutions to some of these challenges.
It's really hard to say, but there's a lot of work that's been done when it comes to cyber. And for example, as you all know, SAME is very focused on industry and government engagement. And there are a lot of initiatives that are going on right now at a national level and also at the post level to address issues that have to do with cybersecurity, building control systems. So there's an IGE that's dealing with that, some of the control systems and how we can make those more secure with standards and policy and so forth. So that's a real life activity right now that is underway. Lucian Niemeyer is leading that IGE for SAME. And that's something that I think is going to help us move that needle along. The other area is the whole area of climate change and its impacts. Many agencies have begun to address that and putting policies and procedures and things in place to address that from an application standpoint. So SME, the posts, many posts are involved in that, bringing government industry together to share some of that information. So there's activities underway now that I think are helping at least make that awareness be broader in understanding and depth, and then taking steps towards actions, policies, programs, directives that can help address some of those issues that are in front of us.
Well, Albert, I feel like we can go on forever and talking about these things, but it wouldn't be a great discussion without at least talking about Nashville. Anything interesting you've done? We're on day 3 of our conference. Any interesting, exciting experiences that you hope to do later today or tomorrow?
Definitely. I mean, Nashville is the music city, right? So there's got to be a lot of opportunity to go out and enjoy the music, and that's what I plan to do tonight. I've been kind of busy with all the events and programs and things that I've been doing for the conference. So tonight's going to be a little bit of letting loose a little bit. Hopefully you can join me and some of our colleagues. But definitely want to go see the restaurants, hear some of the bands, have maybe a drink or two.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show and speaking to us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Albert, for taking time out of your busy day to come on the show. We had such a great conversation, so much to talk about. We'll definitely have to have you back on the show. While we were here, we also had the opportunity to speak with some of the attendees on this conference who stopped by our booth and get their thoughts on some of the topics that Albert and I talked about. So let's hear what they have to say.
Hey, I'm Sally Clark, and I'm a VP with AFG Group. We're a construction management, program management firm based out of the Northern Virginia area with contracts nationwide. And my second role here is as the chair of the Small Business Community of Interest with SAME.
Hi, I'm Paul Petrowski with CBRE. Been with the company about 7 years, but have been in the design and construction business for 30 plus years.
Ravella Warrega from Ravella Consulting Group. What we do is civil engineering, program management, construction management out in Leesburg, Virginia.
David M. Finger with Kahua. We're a software provider of project management information systems.
My name's Kaylin Morrison. I work for HANA Engineers and Consultants, LLC. And we're based out of Richmond, Virginia. We do environmental, geotechnical, civil works, construction management.
Hi, I'm Gloria Larkin. I'm president of Target Gov. We've been in business 25 years and we help companies win billions in federal government contracts.
My name is Mike Ramos. I'm with Raymond Engineering. We do architecture engineering with a focus on building envelope. I'm our executive vice president. I'm actually out of our Atlanta, Georgia office.
I'm Christian Williams, and I'm with Atlantic South. We're based out of Charleston, South Carolina. We specialize in construction management as well as civil engineering.
Tul Apte, CEO of APSI Construction Management. We're out of Irvine, California. And we're a small business, do a lot of federal work, and a longtime federal contractor, but recent inroads with Department of Defense via Army Corps.
First time at SAME conference, and I'm sort of blown away by the size and amount of people here so far.
SAME has always been a great association for me to be active in here locally in Nashville.
This venue here is just top notch. It can actually support the size of this conference.
And always love the national meeting. Glad to have it here in our hometown this year.
You have any thoughts on what you hope to get accomplished this week?
I think it's mainly networking, getting to know some of the partners that we've been on the phone and on Zoom calls the last 2 or 3 years, but not actually having physically met some. So I think that's the number one thing, is just to accomplish that, meet some prospective clients, hopefully. Some leads we're chasing, and again, sometimes the face-to-face connection means a lot.
It can't be overstated how much SAME actually helps. The SBC conference is specifically designed for small business. So the reason why we come here, the reason why it's our biggest conference of the year, is we're here to meet people like us. It's great that all the customers are here. We get a tremendous amount of information from them and we get to interact. At the same time, the conference itself is about teaming.
I'm here for the good times, meeting all the people, and I mean, honestly, I get to learn from all these really incredible professionals at this conference. So I've learned a lot already, and I like just getting the whole experience of seeing what everybody here is doing and meeting other people.
And what I really like about this setup is that there's owners with booths. I think that is something that is a little bit unique to SAME. And I know I've been kind of walking around and had the ability to talk to GSA, who we work with a lot, VA, who we work with a lot. And the fact that they have booths themselves that are doing outreach to industry is fantastic.
I'm here in the capacity of a small business COI, and so I oversee the conference and make sure that the exhibitors are having a great experience, that the attendees are engaging with their clients and potential teaming partners, that our government partners are also getting what they need out of it.
Part of the reason why I'm here is actually twofold. One is to actually connect with small businesses, partners like Procon, that we do a lot of work together. So constantly looking for ways that we can kind of expand the aperture of how we're working together, and figure out how do we challenge each other to kind of do more of what we're doing. So that's one of them. And then the other one is that I'm also part of the SAME community of interest for facilities management. So I lead everything around maintenance and operations and sustainment.
We are looking to expand our federal footprint. We are 8A program and minority owned. So really our purpose here at the SAME conference is to get in contact with some other big companies, finding some great teaming opportunities, and really growing and expanding and learning some new things about the 8A program that can help us reach our goals.
Sharing our perspective from industry. And I think that's one of the biggest benefits of these things is for owners to be able to interface with guys like us, hear our point of view, we can hear their point of view, and I think that dialogue is beneficial to both parties.
I know it's early, but how's it been so far?
Awesome. I won a prize last night and I got like a $25 gift card and a free book.
Best conference I've been to in a long time. I think there's a lot of pent-up demand from post-COVID and everybody wanting to get out.
Oh, fabulous. Except you have to wait in line for food.
Had a good conversation, brought my boss into the conversation. It looks like we're gonna partner on this big opportunity. So that wouldn't have happened if I was anywhere else but here.
This is SAME's largest conference to date. With nearly 5,000 attendees. So yes, absolutely, I would say that it's successful. We've heard nothing but positive reviews, and we look forward to growing and continuing the momentum into the Joint Engineer Training Conference in San Antonio next year.
So, Mike, I see that you have this plaque that you received. I wonder maybe you can share a little bit about what it is.
For SAME Small Business Conference, they do a series of awards, and Raymond was actually selected this year as the Small Business Award winner for 2022 SAME SBC Conference. There's some other award winners, but this is one that we're especially proud of. It's we have been growing with SAME just as much as this conference is growing. I feel like we've been growing with SAME. We've been involved for a number of years, and we are proud of this achievement, and we're excited to celebrate tonight.
What, in your mind, do you think are some of the greatest challenges that are facing our industry? And I would love to get your take on any solutions you might have.
Resources. It's personnel, it's expertise. I think we can find people, but it's finding the right people qualified to do what we do is one of the biggest challenges.
I'd say the big ones are just budget, inflation, and labor. And I don't know that that's really isolated to this industry.
So I think one of the biggest challenges, especially for us, that I've seen in the industry as a whole, but our company has definitely experienced as well, is resources, trying to find those bodies to put on these projects, and just trying to find people to hire has really been a big challenge in the industry.
Estimating, understanding supply chain challenges. From a construction perspective, it's not necessarily maybe some of the construction challenges, but maybe as a whole, it's the things having to do with how do we transition from construction into operations. And so how do we think about things in the construction phase and think about how those things are going to be having an impact on the operations and the next 50 years.
When you have a small business, it's not just about you. There are people who rely on you as employees. They have mortgages, they have kids, and it's much more stressful than if it was a one-man shop. Then if it's me, I'd be like, no problem. But since I have staff, then I feel the pressure.
Some of the issues that we've heard over and over again at the conference is unfortunately supply chain issues, inflation, and retention and recruitment. Those are probably the top three issues that everybody's going to be facing. The good thing about that is there's money out there. The government has the infrastructure bill, have the resources and dollars in order to put behind addressing some of these issues. So many of the people that are here at the conference are ready, willing, and able to tackle those challenges together.
I think what I have found so far is that some of the best solutions have been teaming opportunities, us sharing our resources and really getting together and utilizing what we have in-house and with other people and working together has seemed to be the biggest solution to that problem so far.
Firms just need to look at their business and their portfolio and try to diversify as best they can. Diversify your client list and your services, Always look to do different things.
Lots of new, unique challenges. The way we approach it is, again, we're looking for the people that want to be in the trenches with us and kind of share our philosophies. You've got to keep the pulse of the market, so to speak, engaging with your customers, understanding what their real needs are, and drive quality, on-time delivery, and just prioritize customers' requirements. Combining it with good business decisions, we'll be able to solve those challenges, again, with a network of people.
Now, how long have you had your business?
12 fantastic, agonizingly amazing years, but I have loved every minute of it. The beginning was hard, as you know, getting into the construction field. Women-owned business is actually growing in this industry. It was much more different 20 years ago, even 15 years ago, and it's fantastic to see, organizations such as even the universities, University of VA and all these other universities focusing on bringing up women engineers and such, because we do need women in this industry. And it's not there yet. There are sometimes I'm in a meeting and there's only 2 or 3 women, and even rarer for minority women-owned firms. And so I'm hoping to use my firm as a showcase to show them it can be done as a minority-owned, as a woman-owned firm, and hopefully there'll be more in the field, especially as we bring them from the university, show them that engineering is not just male-dominated. We can have female innovators, architects that can change the world with their designs.
We have to really laser focus on getting students involved and interested in this field of work and attract them to what we do. As you know, not only in the AEC world on a broader level, but within construction management as a service line. I think we lose a lot of talent to other industries simply because I don't think we have the exposure that a lot of other industries do at the very early levels when kids are really starting to form their ideas of what they want to be when they grow up.
We continue to invest a lot of money into construction, modern construction. But we maybe aren't spending enough time and money on the base, the people, the technology, the operational, the soft tissue stuff. We're becoming the Flintstones servicing the Jetsons. And the further that gap becomes, the greater the risk is, the greater the cost.
We have an major aging issue because you have the retirees leaving with all this knowledge and you have the young architects, young engineers coming in, but we need them to stay and mentor. There needs to be a lot of mentorship done, which is not happening currently, and we are lacking in that medium between the incoming young ones and the ones that are retiring after 40, 50 years of knowledge.
Now, Gloria, I do see that you're a speaker. Just wondering if you can share a little bit about what topics you'll be talking about and perhaps even shed a little bit on like what company Target.gov does.
The topic that I'll be speaking about is pipeline development in the AEC community in the federal government marketplace. And it's really dispelling many myths about what does a successful pipeline look like? How large should it be? How diverse should it be? What length of time should it cover? I'll be covering all of those topics tomorrow morning at 10:30.
Anything that you are craving here in Nashville?
I can't leave Nashville without some good barbecue, of course. How to have some good barbecue.
It's a town with a lot of cool energy in the air.
You go out on Broadway, it's a little crazy, you just got to kind of...
I hear Broadway, I haven't been down there yet, so I'm hearing Broadway Street is a must-see.
Line dancing on Broadway.
Thanks again, Albert, and everyone else who we talked to this week. Whether you are one of the 4,000 conference attendees or you're just in the industry, comment below and let us know what you think are some of the biggest challenges our industry is facing. Well, that just about wraps up this episode, but don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss the future episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. So until next time, that was The Build Up. I'm here at CMAA, I'm sorry, not CMA, SAME, so just new conference. It's really hard looking at this guy. He has a big smirk on his face.